Welcome to episode 8, Wake Up Riverbend. And tonight we have a special guest. But before we get to that, I need to talk to my better looking half. Katie, how you doing? How you
How
doing
are
today?
you? Hey, Adam, how you doing?
I'm tired. I'm tired. How about you?
You're actually home.
I'm home tonight. So I was going to do the show from my office. And sometimes in life, things change and you got to pivot. I had to take my girls. I got my favorite second born child upstairs. So I'm with her tonight. And I'm like, here, let's shoot this from the house. So I see you're not at home. Where are you at, Katie? What are you doing?
I'm at the office, so my kid will go to sleep because if he knows I'm in the house, he's going to want me. So I have to leave. So daddy's on duty tonight. He's putting him down.
Yeah. How's baby Q?
Well, he didn't get a nap today either. So it's going to be interesting
Ooh,
for daddy today. He's doing good. He's getting big.
okay.
Ready for Christmas. We're ready for Christmas.
Yeah.
We're going to have a different Christmas this year. Some of my family can't make it in, and we've lost some of my family. And so I think everybody's kind of adjusting to a new lifestyle this year for Christmas. And I've heard a lot of my patients say the same.
Yeah. I mean, it really, as we get older, we have to pivot and change. I mean, the holidays, they seem to be never the same. As you get older, we lose people, families split up, things happen, things change. You just got to adjust. And it's really difficult. I think the holidays, they're the most joy filled time of the year at some level, but then they're also the most stressful time of year. For me personally, I wrote an article about this last week about how Christmas has become this commercial event. Like, and me as a Christian man, like for me, it's about celebrating our Lord and Savior's birthday. Like for me, that's what it is for me. And do I like to celebrate that? Yes. And do I like to spoil my little ones at some level? Sure. But I think we lose touch about what the real meaning of Christmas is. And I know you can agree that it's a little bit over the top. It's stressful, like the shopping. I don't know about your list. I don't know how many people you're shopping for, but it's difficult, right?
It is, and I've heard a lot of people even say things like, "Oh, this isn't the first. This is the first year I didn't go into debt for Christmas," and I just think, wow, like it's just mind blowing to me the amount of commercialism that has happened with Christmas and expectation as well. And so that's something I think I want to try to teach my kid growing up. And my parents are awesome. We had huge Christmases. They did everything for us and it was amazing and perfect. But it doesn't have to be huge Christmases. We can do other things too. And I had a little guy this year tell me that what he wanted for Christmas, he's 10, was he wanted to donate to charities and he wanted to take some of his birthday money and buy for his dad's new girlfriend's kids. And I thought that was so cute. And so, yeah, it's kind of perfectly way into what we're talking about today with Al with the charity stuff. But
Yeah.
anyway,
Speaking of
there's a
Al,
lot of people doing that now.
and we'll bring Al in a minute. So our guest tonight is Al Womack. I've known him for several years. What an amazing contributor to our community. There's honestly, when I think of people in our community doing the most, he's one of the top people I think about. I've been working. I believe, and this goes back, to my beliefs is when you give and when you bless people, it needs to be done in private. Like I don't believe, like I've got people that I know personally that will go out to grocery stores and shopping malls with a camera crew filming themselves giving to the needy and the poor. And I think that is the worst thing you could ever do. I honestly, that's the most disrespectful thing you can do. And so Al and I, and we at our gym at Alton Family Martial Arts, we don't really brag, we don't boast, we don't even talk about what we do. We give in private. And Al's been a gentleman that I've connected with over the years that's allowed me to connect with families. He knows those in need in the community. And that's what I love about Al. But before we get to Al, a couple minutes here, let me ask you, Katie, what are some of the struggles in your business lately? Like I know you're an entrepreneur. You're not an entrepreneur. Pardon my language, Mom, if you're watching this, you're a badass entrepreneur. You're not just an entrepreneur, you're an elite entrepreneur. So what's going on in your businesses right now? What's working, what's not working, what are
Yeah.
you struggling with?
Well, it's not much because it's slow season. We always know December. We joke every year and say we're just going to close in December and go on a vacation. It's not that bad, but I'm used to being packed to the gills. And right now it's just slower. And, it's people wanting to spend money on Christmas presents, things like that. And that's totally understandable. And so our business, oh, and the other big part of it is nobody wants to lose weight right now, which, yeah, it's Christmas season. Why would you even try? Like, just wait at this point till January 1st. Don't even come in. No, I'm just kidding. But the whole seasonal changes in business are, for us, we see that. And it's funny because I've talked to other healthcare workers, and March is always our best month. Why March? I have no idea. But you see these seasonal swings and you get used to them as a business owner. And it's something that in your first year of business, you're like, what the heck is that?
Yeah.
Why was I full, 6 weeks ago, and now I am half full? What happened? And so it's just something you kind of have to learn to roll with. And that happens with all business,
Yeah. And so you prepare for the slow time,
Yes,
right?
you
So
do.
you already know ahead of time. So you prepare and plan for that, right?
Mhm.
Yeah.
Yes,
Yeah.
absolutely.
I'll tell you, so right now there's a lot of negativity in the marketplace. There's a lot of doom and gloom. There's a lot of things that we can really talk about on a negative scale. And I just did a training session on mindset. Is we could look at what the media says, we could look at what our political figures say, we could look at our economy, we could look at interest rates that are rising. There's so much doom and gloom. But if you think about it, there's a lot of things that are out of our control. So I think if we focus on the things that are in our control, our mindset, our work ethic, the people that we surround ourselves with, if we spend more time in positivity and spending time with people that are doing epic things, we're going to prevail through the tough times. I think, Katie, I know you agree with that. And so with 2023, I work with a bunch of dealers across the country. And, we're forecasting 2023 to be not a great year. Not a great year because of the way the economy's shifting. I mean, interest rates are insane. So when interest rates increase, people buy less homes, less
Mhm.
cars, right? So if people are buying less homes and less cars, that affects my income personally. But with that, you have to pivot and you have to shift your mindset into a positive mindset and look at the things you can control. And one thing I always realize is the one thing we can control is our mood and our work ethic. Like, so when we wake up in the morning, we have a decision to make. It's, do I want to be in a good mood or a bad mood? It's
Mhm.
really easy to choose bad. Like, listen, the alarm goes off. I'm tired. Maybe I drank too much wine the night before, which I'm guilty of that on occasion. Only on Tuesdays, Wednesdays, Thursdays, and Fridays. Never on Saturday. But like so we can when we wake up, we can make the decision. Today is good or today is bad. And depending on that is how we're going to carry out our day. So, right. So we can control our mindset and our work ethic. And so for those watching, Katie and I, the reason why we do this show, do we want to celebrate people doing great things in our community? Yep. Are we proud of Alton, Godfrey, Wood River, East Alton? Are we proud of our local community? Yep, we are. But the reason for this show is to motivate and inspire people to do more in their lives. So you don't have to be an entrepreneur to do more. Okay, you can just be you could be a clerk at a gas station. You could be a librarian. You could be a steel worker. It doesn't matter what you do. What matters is you do it with excellence and you do more, right? So with that being said, I'm going to bring somebody here on the show that is absolutely doing more. So Al Womack is a guy, like I said earlier, I've known him for several years. I think I originally got plugged in with him with the Riverbend Growth Association. And there was just something about him. I mean, he's a big guy. I mean, so when you're in Al's presence, you're like, oh my God, please, like, don't hurt me, because he's a big, strong man, right? But he's a mental giant is what he is. He's a sweet man. And here's what I love about Al. He puts everybody before himself. It's community before himself. Everything in his community is more important than himself. So with that being said, I'm going to bring Al on real quick. How you doing, Al? How's life? How we doing?
I'm well. How's it going?
It's going good. It's going real good, actually. So welcome to the show. Welcome to the show. I'm glad here. You and I, we spoke several months ago, and I told you, like, right when Katie and I started this deal, I was like, we got to have you on. Like, you're somebody in this community doing big, big things. And so thank you, first and foremost, thank you for taking the time out of your schedule to spend 45 minutes with Katie and I. So we thank you for that. I'd like to start the show with you just telling the viewers, telling the community just a little bit about yourself. Who is Al Womack? Who's Al? I want to know from you. Tell us.
Sure. Born and raised in Alton. One of 6 kids. Just kind of grew up low income. Grew up, with mom and dad being divorced, and just trying to find my way as a kid. And ultimately got involved in football. And as we talk about young people, usually there's something that happens or something that you get involved in that kind of changes your life. And then football changed my life. It really kind of got me out of my neighborhood, exposed me to some other things, got me around more people. It just really put me on the path to where I am right now. It really did. So, I just love what football did for me and where it got me to where I'm at today. So kind of in a nutshell.
Yeah. What position did you play? What did you do in football? Tell us.
Played offensive line. So I was one of the big guys up front that typically, I'm pass protecting or I'm run blocking for our running backs. It wasn't a glorious position, but it was kind of the dirty work that you do in football. But just doing the dirty work is what got me a free education and again put me on the track to be a productive member of society.
Where'd you go to school?
Went to HBCU. So right now HBCUs are like the big talk around Coach Prime. So my HBCU was Central State of Ohio, located in Wilberforce, Ohio. So it's kind of central Ohio, between Dayton, Cincinnati, Columbus. Really set between Cincinnati and Columbus, Ohio.
Love it. Fantastic. I'll tell you. So I played football. So quick story, and I don't want either one of you. You're both friends of mine, so I don't want you to judge me on this. I'm going to share the story to make myself look stupid. I'm good with it. So when I graduated 8th grade, I loved playing golf at the time. So I found out if I joined the golf team that I could get free golf at Belt Park. Okay. So I went to Wood River, and so I played golf all summer in 8th grade, had a good time with it. And then in 9th grade, I may have lied on my scores, and they put me as the number 2 golfer. And so my first, I don't know if they call them meets, matches. I don't even know what they call them anymore. But so I didn't play very well. And I accidentally hit a guy with a freaking 2-iron in the back of the calf. He told on me, and one of my teammates told on me too. So I remember at the end of the match, meet, whatever it is, I got into a little bit of a tiffy. And I remember going to Happy Gilmore, and I took this guy's clubs and threw them in every direction. And I got kicked off the golf team. So I went into the athletic director's office the next week at Wood River. I said, "Hey, listen, I'm an idiot. I made a mistake. Can I play football?" And they let me play football. So I played 1 year because I was a soccer guy, and I because I wasn't tough enough to play football, so I played soccer. Don't judge soccer players. I love you all. I love Nick Funk. If you're watching, don't get mad. Soccer's a real man sport. But so with that being said, I had 1 year in football, and I was not very good at it. I'll just say that. I was not very good. The 2-a-days were difficult. I mean, who expects anybody to show up twice in a day to do football? Al, tell me about that. What does anybody think in doing that?
Football definitely is not for everyone. Because we talk. It makes a man out of you. Because especially after that 3rd day, you go to the first day and it's, oh, I got this. But after 3 days or 2-a-days, you really start questioning. I really want to play this sport. Why am I doing this? And it kind of weeds out. You don't have to make cuts in football. You kind of cut yourself, right?
It's hard.
Yeah, it's hard. It is definitely the test of man.
Yeah. Especially when it's cold. Like when it's a little chilly out and gets smacked.
Yeah.
It's another level,
Yeah, it is. Football, again, it's definitely something special. And it takes a special person to be able to play it, Nothing against you, Adam, but yeah, it takes a special guy.
I wasn't cut for
You're
it.
not that guy.
I'm hoping you two don't judge me, please. I hope we're still friends after this.
I love that story. I have never heard that.
Oh my gosh. There's a few details that I can't share because of social platforms. But people that know me could just imagine. So football, college. So Al, tell us. So after football, what was next? Like what was the next step in your life? What did you do next?
So really, even I learned to start setting goals. Like once I got to college, because prior to college, I was just probably existing with no plan, no goals. Again, that's where give football a lot of credit because it kind of put me on track to go to college. And once I got there, the light came off in my head. Like, set some goals, come up with a plan. So kind of what's bad about guys that play football is we have that ultimate dream of going to the NFL, and anything short of that, you don't consider yourself, like successful, and you typically don't plan, anything around not making it to the NFL. So it's definitely a dream, but I had a degree to go with that dream. So the dream didn't happen. I stayed in Ohio for a while. Ultimately, I came back to Alton in '94, started working in our school district, got involved in high school football at the same time. And, did that as a volunteer for a couple of years. Ultimately, ended up getting paid to be on staff. Worked in the district, and then Boys and Girls Club just kind of like landed in my lap.
Yeah,
Tell me what the Boys and Girls Club does. I know some of what they do, but like what is the main focus of the Boys and Girls Club for those people who don't know?
In a nutshell, Boys and Girls Club save lives. So you think about this lifeguard or, somebody that's jumping in the water to save you. Think about, and maybe, I can speak from experience being a kid that had to find my own recreation, right? That had to try to find adults to look up to try to like find my own role model. Who can I be like? What direction am I? What direction am I going in? So if you think about a Boys and Girls Clubs typically fill the void in a young person's life. So imagine being that child who doesn't have your mom or your dad, or your parents. Say you have both of them, but they're at work. So it's just whatever that void is in a child's life. Boys and Girls Clubs typically fill that void. Ultimately, we're trying to put kids on a track to become responsible, caring, and productive citizens. So we're trying to give them everything that they need to be on track, because some kids are at a disadvantage because of something that's missing in their lives. We even challenge our staff is think about who you needed when you were a child. Who or what did you need as a child? As a Boys and Girls Club, we try to fit that who or that what that you needed as a child. Again, if dad wasn't in your life, we want to make sure we have males here that can stand in the gap. We can have women and females here that can stand in the gap of mom, or if it's big sister or big brother. So whatever that void is, Boys and Girls Clubs typically try to fill that void. And again, as a child, I didn't take summer vacations. Most embarrassing thing was go back to school in the fall, and the teacher asked you like, where'd you spend your summers? Where all did you travel to? And for a lot of us, we didn't travel. We didn't go anywhere. Yeah. So even being a director of the Boys and Girls Club, I made sure that we were creating those experiences for kids that didn't have those experiences. So it's to be able to go back to school and say, I went to the water parks, I went to the science center, I went to the zoo. So we're trying to create life experiences for kids so that they don't feel left out or left behind.
That is truly amazing. I mean, that's our job. I mean, I feel like it's our civic duty at some level is to help and serve people. Like, the idea of, for me personally, especially in our community, the idea of a child, especially child going without.
Yeah.
That's one thing too. Like when I do my gifting, like when I go out and I bless families at the Christmas time, I'm not trying to buy Jordans.
Right.
Like I'm not trying to buy, because here's the thing too. When it comes to Christmas, we don't realize this. We don't realize when we bless our kids with all this crazy over-the-top stuff, our kids go to school, and then you got the underprivileged that sees they didn't get any of that stuff, but then the well-to-do people got that stuff. Mm-hmm. And then they're like, well, wait a minute, especially those that believe in Santa. Like, well, what did I do? Mm-hmm. So that's where I struggle. And I'll tell you now, I've never, ever, and you can attest to this, I've never posted online or even bragged about any of the things that you and I've done, because the stuff that you and I do, Al, is in private. We give in private. Yep. We don't need to boast about that stuff. But some of the lists that you've given me over the last couple of Christmases, I'm going to try not to tear up thinking about this, but So when we're shopping, these kids are asking for stuff that is like insane. Socks, underwear, bras, sports bras, jackets. These kids want jackets. My kids want Air Jordans. And some of these kids in the community just want a freaking jacket to stay warm. I had a family last year that didn't have any pots and pans to cook. You know what I'm saying? Like I'm not saying that's a problem. That is a real issue. And we have to pay attention to that. And we have to help. I think it's our job, like Al, Katie, me, and that's why we do these shows to bring the community together. It's our job to serve and help people in our community that are underprivileged. And I think if everybody in the country, the world, we can talk about the world later, but let's talk about our country. If every city and every community in our country came together and said, you know what we're going to do? We're going to come together with strength in numbers. And those that have a little bit more, that are willing to give a little bit more, we'll put a strategy in place. Let's help bless those that need help. That's what we need to do. And Al, to be honest, that's one of the main reasons. Like I wanted to bring you on the show because you're doing that. Like you're doing that. So in our community right now in Alton, I know you're big in Alton, and when we speak Wake Up Riverbend, we're not speaking in Alton. Today we are a little bit, but it's Godfrey, it's Alton, it's Jerseyville, it's Woodland, East Alton, it's hard. We're in this community, okay? What right now does our community need the most, Al? Like where in what capacity can we serve in our community the most right now?
And I don't know if you can put a dollar sign behind it, you know, or if money can take care of this, but, you know, it's been exposed more coming out of the pandemic. What we're seeing more is trauma, you know, and I think this was happening way before the pandemic. Okay, so we talk about mental health and trauma, and then PTSD. Typically, when you're PTSD, what do you think of? Like someone returning from the military, an adult. But guess what? Our kids are experiencing PTSD. You know, when I first learned that, I'm like, wow, you think about what they've lived through and what they've experienced. We need more resources and support around mental health and trauma services for our young people. We can put, you know, all the material things in their lap and in their hands. That doesn't fix what's going on here. So even if I can talk about the work that we do, you know, it's not about going and buying things for kids. It's about being there for kids. It's about being an ear, being supportive. Just again, it's providing those services. So I'm saying services over materials. If I had to pitch, you know, why support a Boys and Girls Club, so that we continue to be here for kids. You know, we have kids that may not trust talking to their parents about what they're experiencing, because in some communities, mine in particular, you know, you're told, you know, go take a nap or shake it off, you know, and we're saying we have to stop telling kids to shake it off. You're gonna be okay, you know, and start listening to what they're struggling with. My message in the last year is we want to make sure kids, that we want them to know that we see you and we hear you, okay? Because they're human, and we see them and we hear them, and we have to do something. When a kid confides in me that they're struggling, because right now they are honest to say, hey, I'm having mental health issues, you know, and now I'm charged with, how do I help this child? You know, we experienced that this summer. I'm having a group discussion and talking about, you know, what direction you want to go in. And I have a kid says, Sue kid says, I don't know what direction I'm going in because I'm dealing with some mental health issues and I'm lost, you know? So now I call our resources and say, how can we help? You know, so it's, like I said, it's about really investing in the resources that's going to help our kids, because until they get this right, you know, we can't do anything for them.
Amen.
So the Boys and Girls Club is a national organization, correct?
Yes, that's correct.
So then there is a location within Alton.
Yes.
And some of the children come there as kind of a recreational area. You have facilities there for them to play and hang out.
I'm listening to you because
I just want you to elaborate so people can kind of understand what it is.
It's much more to just to Boys and Girls Clubs than just playing. Because I think public perception is kids go there and play and they have fun. So the key ingredients is fun. But when we get them, we are working on the entire individual.
Good.
Okay, from the time they hit the door, just communication skills. How do you interact with your peers? How do you interact with adults? Just those life skills that they need that we can assume that they're getting. If I grew up as a kid and I only knew wrong, and you say, well, you should know right from wrong. If I've only been taught wrong, how am I supposed to know what's right?
Sure.
So it's really trying to build and instill life skills in kids every day they walk through our doors. We do that with, and I can talk about our programs, education and career development, character and leadership development, the arts, sports, fitness, and recreation. And then we have health and life skills. So everything we do kind of falls under one of those core program areas. And it's all about building the child. How do we build the child? That adult interaction, that peer-to-peer interaction, that support for academics, all those things. So you think boys and girls, you think recreation, but once you walk in the door, I have a board member that was in here today, and she was like, we just need more people walking in the door, engaging, interacting with kids. You'll I can't even explain it much as if you experience it, then you take away, here's what they're doing.
So where do these children come from? Are you going into the communities and or schools and I don't want to say recruiting them, but informing them about your services? How are you finding children for your programs?
So any kid that signs up, we call them our kids. So we tell parents, when you sign your child up, they're our kids. They're not just yours. They're ours now. And years ago, so we're celebrating 25 years of Boys and Girls Club. Years ago in the fall, we would be taking, flyers to every school saying, hey, join the Boys and Girls Club. And we haven't had to do that in probably more than 10 years because they know where we're at. They know we're here and they're coming. Kids vote with their feet. So they're walking through the doors. Transportation is provided by Alton School District. From every public school in Alton, there's a bus that brings kids to us.
Awesome. That's great. But here, real quick, too, for those watching, I do a really bad job of asking people to share this. So especially our folks in the community, share this feed. Do us a favor. Anybody watching live right now, share this. This is about our community. We want to touch and reach as many people as we can. We want to help as many people as we can. And let me ask you real quick, Al, what are some immediate needs? If you were to list off a couple of immediate needs, because the idea is we want to share the message of what you're doing.
Mm-hmm.
We want to reach people that can help serve what you're doing. What are some immediate needs that our community could come together right now and bless you and the Boys and Girls Club? What is that?
Wow. So I definitely wasn't prepared for that. Like I'll say like as I talk about needs right now, to be honest, we really need some more adults that would love to serve in the capacity of board members. So right now, if I talk about top priorities, I'm looking for people that have the time, the talent, and the treasure to share with the organization. And not one more so than the other. In order for us to build and grow, it's going to take some adults behind the scenes, some people that are committed to making a difference in a young person's life. So it's as a board member, right now we're really critical and picky about who can join the organization. Some people are better off being donors. Some of our best board members are our best advocates. So I'll say from board members to advocates to people investing in the organization so that we're here for another 25 years. So I can't say there's one particular. The last 3 years have been things are going fairly great for us. So it's just, how do we assure that we're here for 25 more years? It's making that investment in the organization so that we can in turn provide those services for the kids.
If someone donates, let's say someone in our community donated to the Boys and Girls Club, do you see that money? Does that a national money and then it's funded out? How does that work?
So that's a great question. We're all autonomous organizations. So if you donate, it comes right to us. We don't have to share any funds, dollars with any other organization or entity. It comes to us and it stays in Alton, and our kids benefit directly from it.
I know a lot of people struggle with giving to organizations, and I do as well. Anytime of charities, we always do anything local because I want to know that my dollar's going where I think it's going, and to the people who
Mhm.
really deserve it. And so that is awesome to hear.
It's
And I didn't know that.
it's definitely, and that's what I said. If you stay on the outside, I had a debate with a young man yesterday who had this negative view of charities. He was like, board members get paid and money doesn't stay there. And I'm like, sir, you are wrong. I've been running the organization for 25 years and we don't pay board members. These are volunteers. These are people who turn around, give to the organization. Here's people who give their time to the organization. Here's people who give their expertise to the organization. So some people, when it comes to charity, they think the worst first when you have to walk in the doors of the charity. I believe in charities. I look at the work that United Way does. I looked at that years ago. We've been the United Way organization. And, it's because of people that are willing to raise and invest in charities is really why we exist. And you don't realize how the importance of charities until you need one. So if you think about just like food insecurities, and you find yourself in a position where he's like, where am I going to get food from? You're going to a crisis food center or something of that nature that's funded by a United Way or by the community donation. So, we said it, you have a child care. Child care is outrageous. We charge families $25 per year per child so that everyone can afford to belong. So we don't care.
Goodness, that's cheap.
We don't care what your income is, how much you make or how little you make. We want everybody to pay the same fee, regardless, so that everyone can afford to belong.
Yeah. So let me throw a different question here real quick. So Al, you're extremely talented. You know a lot of people. You have a high stature in our community. You're well respected. I'm sure there's so many opportunities that come your way to do different things, right? Like I'm sure if you look over your career over the last 2 decades, I'm sure there's been a lot of opportunities that have come your way that you've said, you know what? I'm not interested. I'm going to continue to do what I do. So I got 2 questions for you. One, and I'm sorry, I'm going to put you on the spot. I'm good at this, and I'm not even going to apologize.
All right.
First thing first is I want to know your why. So there's one thing we can talk about. When you have a business, it's who you are, what you do, how you do it. Those are important elements. For me, I want to know why. Why do you do what you do first? Second of all, what keeps you into this Alton community doing what you're doing? So why do you get out of bed every day, Al? Second is why do you stay so committed to the Boys and Girls Club in Alton? I want to know those questions.
Sure. Great question. Why am I committed? Because this is my hometown. It's ours. So when I speak in terms of ours, our kids, our community, and there's so much more work to be done. Like I think I operate on you can never be good enough, you can never know enough. So I want to continue to learn, and I'll never feel like I've reached that point where I know all there is to know about kids, or I know all there is to know about community, or I know all there is to know about education. So I want to continue to get better. I want to see our community get better. I want to see more kids go do well and come back to this community. I was the kid that said I was never coming back to Alton. And I think a lot of people say that. You talk to teenagers in high school, and probably more than half will say, oh, I'm leaving. I'm never coming back. And why is it that you never want to come back? Nothing bad happened that I didn't want to come back. But I think, until you get to that point where you've experienced life outside of Alton, you realize we have a great community.
Oh, yes, we do. Yes.
Boys and Girls Club, this club does not exist without this community. When there's a challenge or a need in this community, people step up and they respond. I've had several call to actions where people have responded. And again, that's why we've been here 25 years. So my why is because the work is never done. Our kids need us. They need us now more than ever. Yeah. They need all of us. So it's not just about me. I think I'm the face of the organization, but what really makes it move is our community and the people on the front lines.
Amen. Well said. I love that. It's the thing, like I can tell your passion just when you talk about it, you're so passionate about this. Like, I love our community. Katie and I we talk every week about our incredible community. And, I was just in Southern, what's today? It's today Thursday, right?
Yeah.
So I came home on Monday. I was in Southern California all last week, and I was with some really great friends. And we're talking at dinner, and they're like, "Adam, you're so like jazzed about your community. Like, what is it about where you live that you're so psycho over? What is it?" I go, "It's just there's like a level of peace. There's a level of there. I'm proud of our community. I'm proud of the local businesses that are thriving, and the people. The people are amazing. And like when you're young, like I'm getting older now. I'm 42 years old. I'm going to be 43 next year. You know, when I was in my mid 20s, I didn't see Alton's majesty. I didn't see the beauty of Alton and Godfrey. I just, but you know what I knew about Alton in my 20s? Fast
Max.
Eddie's
Yeah.
and Max. And by the way, Eddie boy, I love you. You might be watching. You're my brother. I love you. Mac, I love you too. You know, but I put a lot of money in your organizations, both of you. You guys both owe me dividends, by the way. But with that being said, like growing up, you think of like Fast Buddies and party, whatever. There's so much more to all. All is when I have a lot of people that ask me, when you retire, where do you want to go? Where do you see yourself? What's the perfect place? I say here.
Right here.
You were like, what's your favorite place to travel? Well, I travel so much. I freaking hate it. And I'll tell you, I love home. I love Alton. I love Godfrey. I love this community. Let me ask you real quick, Al. What is your favorite thing about our community? What is your favorite thing about our community?
Honestly, it's the people. You know, I feel like I sing the same song when I say, like, you know, what drives me. It's the people. I feel like we live in a safe community. You look at what's happening around us. I mean, we have to continue to work to keep it safe. We have to continue to work to keep our kids safe. But, you know, you don't see any major crime. We don't see major gangs. We have some copycats, but those same copycats are reachable. So, you know, I think everything is fixable, but my favorite thing is really the people. I can go anywhere and know someone. I don't, in this small town, you're going to know someone wherever you go. And I like that feeling. I really do.
It's a big, small town. I mean, because if you really think about it, so, you know, you got Alton's got 30,000 people almost, right? You got Godfrey's got almost 20,000 people. That's 50,000 people. That's a lot of people.
Mm-hmm.
But it's very intimate and close.
Very.
It's a tight-knit community. So what real quick, I know, Al, I know you're doing some things right now. I know you got some things in your life that you haven't shared, and maybe you're just trying to be like humble. Okay. Mm-hmm. I don't want you to be humble for like the next minute. I want you to let's brag on Al Womack. Let's talk about you. What you got some things. Talk about the school board. Like, what do you got some secrets, man? Let's talk about it. What do you got going on?
I'm gonna be transparent. So actually, probably as of last week, and you mentioned earlier, last week I just told someone that was pursuing me for a job outside of Alton. Literally last week, I think I picked up the phone Thursday and was like, "Hey, take me off the list." You know, well, we thought you would be really good, and it's a bigger organization, and it's $4 million budget. I'm like, just take me off the list. There's more work to be done here. I cannot see myself leaving Alton. I used to entertain those phone calls, and I'm like, I'm not going to string you along. I'm not going to string you along. There's just too much work to be done here. But right now, I have a really strong desire to run for school board. And I actually turned in my petitions Monday morning. Education. So if you, I think I'm known as I'm a quiet person. But if you really want to get me going, you talk about education, you talk about kids, and you're going to get me fired up. So right now, there's a lot of disparities in education. There's a lot of policies that I think we should take a closer look at. I think support for our educators is, all these things is needed because we need a thriving school district. And I think we've been there and we need to continue to thrive. We have some challenges that I want to be a part of, helping solve some of those challenges and resolving some of those things. I want to make sure that kids know that there's an advocate for them on the school board. So I'm not all about expelling kids and kicking them out of school because ultimately that doesn't help our community. Yeah. So we're really turning kids to the streets, and then we're looking at crime rates changing. So we have to figure out how to keep kids in school, and there's alternative ways, I think, to keep kids in school. And we just have to keep examining those things. But I'm really big on, like, we have a great school district.
Yes, we do.
I went to school 6 hours away in Ohio, and that's when I learned to appreciate where I come from, because the education that I received, was right up there with anyone else that I was in any class with, if not better than. So we have to take advantage of it, and we really have to highlight more of our success coming out of our schools, which ultimately increases the value of our community.
We have a really, really great school district here. A lot of people don't understand. Alton has an incredible school district, and so my ex-wife and I, we put all of our daughters, we put our girls in evangelical, so they went to private school, and then when they got to middle school, we put them into the public school system. And I'll tell you, best decision ever. And I've never been more impressed. I am really impressed, especially my daughter, Annalie, who's very, very advanced, like elite level advanced. She's going to be able to go to Alton High and have college. She'll be into college by the time she gets out of high school.
Exactly. The dual credits.
I'm grateful for what we have. And a lot of people, there's a lot of people that are very uneducated. There's a lot of uneducated people that say things. They have no boundary to say things because they haven't done the research. But I'm very proud of what we have here. So let me turn gears real quick because we don't have a lot of time left. Let's talk about, what do you do for fun? Like, we've been all business here. We're talking about you and your whys in the community. Tell us a little bit about you. What do you do for fun? Like, what is a Saturday night, no stress, like going out on the town look like for Al Womack? What do you like to do in your free time?
So I've definitely aged in the last 25 years, right? Years ago, it was going to Max and it was going to hit the club scene. It's not me now. I think I live a really boring life. Honestly, I'm a 2-beer drinker. After 2 beers, I'm good, right?
I don't think I've ever seen you even have a drink in your hand.
And some people have said that, right? My kids are adults and they're like, I've never seen you drink. But it's really, I'm somewhat of a private person. I figure, the less information you give people, the less they have to talk about, right? So,
man, baby, I wish I could live by that.
I try to practice that, but then the more private you are, the more people want to know who you are and what do you do. So I live a basic life where, I communicate with a certain circle of people. Health and fitness is a huge priority for me now. Probably better than a year. I've been going to training 4 days a week. And then some evenings I turn around and go. So I train at UFit. And then in evenings I may go to
JR. You train with JR?
Train with JR, right?
Yeah, JR is going to be on here. JR is a great friend of mine. He's going to be on the show soon. I got him coming on as well.
JR is a great
show. I'm going to make him take his shirt off though. So JR will be the first. JR is going to be the first guest Katie and I have ever had that is not allowed to wear a shirt.
Oh wow. And he loved that. He loved that too, right?
He would love it.
So anyway, I start my day off. I go work out in the mornings, and I work out with a small group of guys, and then I'm immediately thinking, I got to get showered, I got to get to work, and what am I going to do? Like what the daily challenges are. But it really centers around, health and fitness, which is so important. In the last year, I've dropped probably better than 50 pounds.
Oh,
always
that's
been as confident.
Years right there.
Yeah. So I've always been so confident. You can't tell me what I'm not. You can't say you aren't this. I thrive off of challenges. Tell me I can't do it, I'm gonna prove you wrong. You couldn't tell me that I was a fat guy because I was too confident. I'm like, I'm a good looking big guy, right? Until I lost the weight. When I lost the weight, I looked back and like, you were a fat guy, so I'm the only person that can really criticize myself and believe it. You can call me something, but I won't believe it because I'm pretty secure in who I am. But anyway, I've really made that a big part of my life. Really committed to getting my health in shape, and committed to growing this organization, and then just trying to make sure that my family is taken care of. That's pretty basic. I think I'm a couple years over 50, so it's really just making sure that everybody is good. I don't want anyone close to me to struggle and hurt for anything. And we lost some people during the pandemic, so just want to make sure everybody's good and family stays together and stay close knit.
Yeah.
I love it. Al. So I'll tell you, this has been an amazing interview. You're such a blessing to our community. You're an example of community. If I could describe you in one word, it's community. It really is, because you are so when I want to serve the community, you're the only person I think of. I call you, you're that guy.
Thank you.
So, you know what, Katie and I, we want to thank you for just donating your time. Before we sound off, what can you tell the audience? What can the audience in our community do to serve the Alton Boys and Girls Club? What are some things that we can do as a community to come together to help kids at the Alton Boys and Girls
And
Club?
how do we get in contact with you?
Yeah, thank
How
you.
do we get in contact to do that?
So there's, I don't know how much time we have, but I'll try to be short. So we have our website, bgcalton.org. bgcalton.org is like our website, first of all, to become familiar with who we are and what we do. My contact information is on there, or I can be reached at 618-462-6249. To take the conversation further, the first thing we have to do is start looking out for kids. Because again, I say kids are ours. If they're in our community, they're our kids. So let's make sure we're all listening and make sure the kids know that we hear them and we see them. That's so critical in the day and age that we're in right now. Make sure that any kids you have access to or come into contact with is that we hear them and we see them. And again, to help kids in our community is to also help the Boys and Girls Club, because we're definitely taking those resources and pumping them into kids. So it's, how can you help? Get on our website. There's opportunities there to volunteer. Whatever your talent is, if you can bring your talent and share it with young people, that's awesome. If you can make an investment, that's awesome. If you can tell a friend, come take a tour, come sit and talk to young people, that's awesome. That's all helping us help kids.
I love it. Well, I'm not going to speak on behalf of Katie, but I am. I'd like to connect with you outside of this. Katie and I, we need to set a meeting to come see you, because anything that we can do to help serve, we want to do.
Sure.
The name of the game, Katie's a mother, I'm a father. It is about our kids.
Yeah.
You know what? It's the thing is, it's that the younger generations we have to serve and protect, so they can be great contributors ahead of us. That's the name of the game. So, Al, I can't thank you enough for coming on the show. I respect you. I love you. I appreciate you. Thank you for your time. Thank you for what you do for our community. And you're a blessing to all of us. So we'll be in touch. You and I will be in touch very, very soon. Katie and I will all get together. We're committed to helping this community. Anything we can do to support you and the Boys and Girls Club, we're in. All right. So thank you. I hope you have an amazing holiday season, Al. And we'll be talking sooner than later. All right.
Great. Thanks.
Bye, Al. Good to see you.
Bye-bye.
Thank you.
I love him even more now.
What an amazing human. Like he's
Yeah. He's one of those people where every time, if I see him out, I always have to go say hi to him, because he's just so, he's got a great presence.
If he walked up to me in Walmart and said, "Hey, listen, give me your jacket," I'd give it to him.
Yeah.
He's a big, strong man, but he's a
nice. Yeah.
He's a teddy bear. He is all things community. He's an incredible human being. I'm so glad we did this interview tonight.
Me too. This is a good one. Good pick.
Because it really ties into really what the reason, like here. I know with your schedule and my schedule, like here, just like we're all busy. You got a kid, I got a couple kids. You got a handful of companies, I've got a handful of companies. Like, it's not like we have all this extra time, right? Mm-hmm. But we do this because we're so in love with our community and we want to help as many people as we can. And Al's the type of guest that we just brought on that can truly serve our community. So for those watching tonight, stay tuned. We're going to put some things in place. I'm going to be posting some things on how we can give back and serve. The Alton Boys and Girls Club is definitely an organization I support and I'll continue to support. So, Katie, with that being said, tell me, what do you got going on this weekend? What are you doing?
Oh, my dad's in town from Central America, so spending as much time as I can with him. Doing some singing with the Glendale Riders this weekend. We got a private party, and I'm real excited because we do it every year, and it's always fun. And
we're at
the Best Western Premier in Alton, which is an awesome establishment for an event. I love having events there. I had my women's seminar there this year. I hosted my women's seminar there. I love that establishment. And if you guys have not eaten in that restaurant, Great Rivers Tap and Grill, you are missing out. I mean, it's one of the top 5 of my favorites in the Alton area. They have huge T-bone steaks from Hanson's. I mean, amazing potatoes. Just everything. Everything is good. Jacob and I got married there, and we've always loved the food. We frequent there if we're going to go out, which you know how often that is. But their food is fantastic. I'm going to dinner there Saturday night, actually, before we start our event. So you're going to have to go check it out.
Let's do it. Let's do a date night. I know, Katie, you're not.
Yeah, we
you're
talked
not
about
going to
going
invite
there.
anybody to do anything, but I mean, if you could, like maybe we. I'm just kidding.
Our next date's in February, Adam. We already have it on the calendar.
We do have a date. We do have a double date in February. I'm looking forward to that. You know how crazy you're an entrepreneur. I'm an entrepreneur. Like, so we have to schedule, and you're one of my closest friends. Like, you're my blood sister. You're my younger mother. Like, you
know,
tell
yes,
me what,
I am.
I'm scared to death of you. The fact is, we're not hanging out till February. Like, what? We've got to hang out before February.
The only weekend you had available, I'm busy.
It's crazy. But you know what? The beautiful thing about friendships like we have, and I hope we don't go a year without talking, but we could go a year and we hug and kiss each other like nothing ever passed.
We would.
So here's a couple things, guys. So, you know, Katie and I, we're going to continue to bring interviews to our community. We can't do it weekly. There's times we can't do it bi-weekly, but we're going to do it as often as we can. And this is a passion project. And the passion project is to bring awareness to our community, to celebrate individuals doing great things, to celebrate companies. And we want to bring people together because Katie and I both believe that we have the greatest community in the country. You know, we think the Riverbend is the most fabulous community in the country. And it has to do with the businesses, the people that run the businesses, the atmosphere, and the aesthetics of the beauty that lies in our community. So with that being said, I am so grateful. I am so grateful for all of you that tune in and follow Katie and I, those that have supported us, all the encouraging messages. You know, we've got a laundry list of people that we're bringing on the show. And listen, I know there's a lot of you that have emailed me and messaged me that you want on the show. I read your messages. I respond to the messages. You're on the list. We're keeping our eyes on you. We can't bring everybody on at once, right? Because we don't do this show enough to be able to just load it up every week, right? So for those that have reached out, be patient. Be patient. This is kind of like would you consider this a startup, Katie? And so
yeah.
We're doing this because we love it. We're having fun with it. And we're not trying to be over the top with the theatrics and all that, the production quality. We're just having some fun. So with that being said, we love you. We love you. We love you. Katie, anything you want to say before we start?
Share our video. Share it out.
Share it out. Share it out. All right,
Merry
Katie,
Christmas.
I love you. I love you. I love you. I love you. You're my second favorite cheer, and you always will be. Love you.
Love you.